So this is a little different from what I'm used to. So I am a PADI IDC staff instructor, and I spend most of my time talking to people about, different, depending on what course they're taking, but we do a lot of the Lionfish specialty certifications. So I talk about, how to spear lionfish, how to protect yourself from them, how to treat yourself if you do get stung, things like that. And we'll talk about a little bit of that tonight, but we kind of went in a different direction for tonight's presentation. And we're going to talk about Zookeeper, the company, and what we do as a whole, like I said, to protect the reefs. But a little bit about the company, a Zookeeper. I have some of the products over here. Zookeepers are primarily, or they were invented to protect the divers from the lionfish, and more importantly, from the venomous spines of the lionfish. And what we did is when we bought Zookeeper back in 2021, so I purchased the company from the inventor of Zookeeper. What I did was, or what we did as a whole, was we wanted to go in a different direction, and we wanted to be more of a conservation movement. But we have we do these presentations in our facility, which is in Fort Lauderdale, where we build all the products. So first and foremost, we're very proud to say that our products built here in the USA. Most of our materials come from the USA. And we do, in our facility, we also do presentations. So we have groups come through, dive centers and things like that. And one day somebody wanted to see how fast we could build a Zookeeper. That was sped up. We can't build a Zookeeper in 30 seconds, but we do it pretty quickly. But we do build them right in our facility, and we use them for, like I said, primarily for protecting the divers from lionfish. But if you're lobstering or spear fishing, which we promote for consumption, of course, you can use that to protect yourself from, potentially from sharks and other other things that might try to, give you a little trouble when you're diving. But we also do it for cleanups. So almost never do we come up from a dive. We will always have a lionfish in our Zookeeper, but we'll probably have some aluminum cans, some monofilament fishing line, plastic bags, you name it. And so we do that. But we do also, not only do it at the same time that we're hunting, but we have very specialized events. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So this is a little short video of a camera that was on the bottom of a Zookeeper. So this is what it looks like when you're putting a lionfish into the Zookeeper. What you do is you have it on the spear, you put it in, and then you just pull your spear back out. The funnel kind of strips the lionfish off, and then it's in the Zookeeper. And there you kind of see it from the outside also. Okay. As I said, we bought the company in 2021. July 1st of this year will be 5 years that we've had the company. When we first bought the company, you could get a Zookeeper. That's what you could get, a Zookeeper in white. What we did is we expanded it into all the different products and more than what you see here, but different color Zookeepers, different size Zookeepers. And currently we have 5 different colors Zookeeper. Actually, we have 6. We have 5 different colors that we sell. And then we also have the blue Zookeeper, which is, we do not offer that for sale. We use that as a donation to the events that we support. And again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So some of the products that we offer, and I have them here on the table as well, but sling spears, gloves, shears for removing the spines of the fish when you're out of the water, not something you want to try to do in the water. Thermal heat packs. If you do get stung by a lionfish, it's protein-based venom, and heat is what breaks it down. So you want to have heat quickly available. So we have these heat packs. You just pop the little clip, they heat up, and you put it directly on the spot where you got stung. And I can attest, been stung multiple times, it helps. Doesn't completely remove the pain, but it helps a great deal. We also have apparel, we have t-shirts, rash guards, hats, the gloves. Everybody always asks me about the gloves. Are they where the spines can't penetrate? No, they're not. Unfortunately, there are gloves out there that are strong enough to keep the spines from penetrating, but you lose all dexterity. You could never dive with them. So, but these are good gloves. They're cut resistant. And, again, if you want to see, for you that are online, unfortunately, but in the room if you want to see any products afterwards. So we do derby consultations. We do reef and pier cleanups, hunting trips, educational classes. We do run derbies. We help with promotions. We do hunting trips. So we every year we go to Curacao on a hunting trip. This year, every year in late April or early May. This year it's the end of April. We have 62 people going with us to Curacao. For the last 2 years, 5 days of hunting, we've shot over 900 lionfish that we remove while we're down there. We do guided hunting trips. And of course, we do classes teaching. So the mission. So I already talked a little bit about Zookeeper. The corporation name is the LZK Group. A gentleman I bought the company from, his company was Zookeeper. So of course we want to limit any liability. So we created the LZK Group, which stands for Lionfish Zookeeper. And then, of course, we go by the brand name of Zookeeper. It is a family-owned business, so my kids are involved in it. And as a matter of fact, they're at Zookeeper, building Zookeepers right now. So, but the mission is to make it safer to remove lionfish and debris, and also to educate. I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell. We want to educate people. So many times I'll come on the boat. I might be diving on a dive shop's boat with other divers who don't even know what lionfish are. You know, they give us the old, that's cruel, what you're doing type thing. And then so it's an opportunity for me to educate them on what the lionfish are actually doing to our ecosystem. And of course, 15 minutes later, they're tired of hearing me talk and they walk away. But we are very committed to the conservation movement. 1% of our sales goes to 1% for the planet. Okay. This past year in 2025, we sponsored over 35 events. That means we either donated product or cash or a combination of both. So you'll see on one of the next slides coming up where we did that and some of the tournaments. We have our own slogan, slay, eat, and repeat. So shoot the lionfish, eat them, and then shoot them again and keep eating them. We really tell people in a lot of our education stuff that we do when we're talking, a lot of people are not scuba divers and they want to know what they can do to help. And what we tell them is go to the local restaurants and ask for lionfish. And first off, if you've never eaten them, it is some of the best fish you'll ever eat. Me personally, if I never ate anything other than lionfish again, I would be perfectly happy with that. But that's the way to get more people involved with the removal of lionfish. So if there becomes a demand for them by the restaurants seeking out people to hunt them, then you know, we can potentially remove more lionfish. So these are some of the events that we did. And you can see, I'm not going to talk about all of them, but a lot of these events are big events. Some of them are very local events, and some are very, very local, meaning it might just be a dive shop doing an event on their own boat. So it might be only 20 or 25 divers. The big one is somewhere on this list is the Emerald Coast Open. The event is in Destin, Florida, in the Panhandle, in May every year. It is the biggest lionfish derby in the world. Usually somewhere between 150 to 200 divers that participate in that event. And they, year over year, they remove 20,000 plus fish in a 2-day period. Okay, so that event is a big attraction. It brings divers from all different areas, obviously, to participate. Just the prestige of being the one that wins that event is what half of them are there for, just to be able to say we won that event. But you'll see on the list, here's pier cleanups. We do one of the other events that we're really proud to talk about is Operation Lionfish. That's an event we hold up in Fort Lauderdale, and it supports military veterans, disabled military veterans. So they have to be Purple Heart recipients, at least. Some of them are amputees. And so we do a derby to raise money for them. Last year in our event, we raised $32,000 to support them. So, you know, that's a big event that we do. Here's our Curacao trip that we do. And then we sponsor a couple of derbies down there. And then Zookeeper ourselves, we only run a couple of events a year. The other ones we support, but we do have our big event, which just ended on December 31st. We run a three-month derby that goes from October 1st till December 31st. And the winner of that event gets to go to Curacao with us, all expenses paid. So the winner this year shot 1,366 lionfish. And on top of everything else, she lives in Texas and she constantly flew to Florida to shoot the fish. So, so she was pretty excited about being the winner, obviously. But again, that's an event that we're really proud of. This year, we had set a goal for the participants. We wanted to remove 10,000 lionfish, and we got to 9,800. So we came pretty close. We, excuse me, we have to deal with weather at that time of the year, especially in the northern, in the Gulf, in the Panhandle region. Water starts getting cold. It takes a little more motivation to get out there and dive. But again, you can get a good handle on a lot of the events that we do. And the other big event that we really support is the FWC Summer Challenge. So FWC runs a very similar event that we do at the end of the year. And we kind of modeled ours after theirs. They've been doing it a lot longer than we have. But we support them, and we support and work together with FWC all year round. We have a very good partnership. So again, just kind of give you an example of how we are committed to the conservation movement, right? This is not just about going out and selling product. We walk the walk, we talk the talk. We support these events. And we also probably 50% of those events, we probably had teams in the event. Because once people find out that Zookeeper is coming there, they want to come meet us. and they think we have some special magic, like we know how to find the lionfish or we know where they're all at. And we're just like anybody else. We have to go find them. But they like to come and compete against us. So, I was talking a little earlier to some folks. The big thing with scuba divers, once you become a scuba diver and you've done some diving and you get tired of just going down and looking at all the pretty fish, kind of want to start doing something else, right? And a lot of people go down the avenue of photography, right? They start buying cameras or GoPros, or you can spend a lot of money on nice cameras, and they start doing photos or videos. And then other people go the other way and they want to start hunting fish or get involved in the lionfish conservation movement. So we tell them, start with the gear. You need a Zookeeper and you need a pole spear. That's what you need to get started. And then come join us at some of the cleanups or the events that we do. We're very happy. We take people out all the time. They'll call us. They'll say, hey, we're going to be in South Florida. Can we come dive with you guys? And we take them with us and we teach them and show them how to shoot lionfish. It is becoming one of the most popular things to do when you scuba dive. I've certified more people for lionfish hunting than all the other certifications that I do. We've had families, individuals come from Texas, Oklahoma, New York, all over the country. They come down here to learn how to shoot lionfish. Everybody wants to be a part of it. So we encourage them, and this is something we're very proud of, our partnership that we actually have with REEF. So we have a REEF sticker on every Zookeeper that we make. I didn't just put that on there for tonight. Every single Zookeeper that we make, that we ship out, that we sell or give away has the REEF sticker on it with a QR code, which brings them to the REEF site for donations, right? So we support REEF. If you use the REEF code, when you purchase anything, the person doing the purchasing gets 10%, and then we make a donation back to REEF as well for all those purchases. So again, we're not just talking the talk, we're backing it up in what we try to do. These are some of the events that are coming up. Of course, Chelsea just talked about the REEF event that's coming up. We'll be here. We sponsor that event. We'll have probably 2 teams in that event. And just so you guys know, if we do win an event, we do not take the prize money. We just take the pride of winning. And we get to say we won, but we pass the prizes down to the next, the next team. Because we're not in for it. That's not why we're doing it. We're not doing it for the prize money. On our Zookeeper website, lionfishzk.com, we have an events calendar where we post all the events that are going on, not only in this area or in the state of Florida even. A lot of our customers are in the Caribbean. You can see we go to Curacao, we go to Belize, pretty regular. And we have this lionfish invasion is everywhere in these areas. So we do far more than just the state of Florida. Make sure I'm not missing anything. So again, I talked about this, but what can you do if you're not a diver? Go to your local restaurants and ask for lionfish. You can also go and support the derbies. If there's a derby going on in the area that you live in, you can go. They need people to help count fish, just to do all the non-diving work. Fillet fish, usually they do a lot. Most of the derbies, they actually prepare lionfish and So if you've never eaten it, you can try them at these derbies, but you can volunteer. And then of course, the cleanups. So almost all the cleanups that we do as divers, there has to be what we call shore support. So you need people, first off, we don't just clean up the reefs, we clean up the beaches as well. So you need people on land doing that work. And then if it's on the reef, for example, we do, occasionally we'll go out and very specifically just try to remove anchors. And it's not so much the anchors that are doing the damage to the reef, but it's the lines and the chain. When they have to cut that line on the boat and the anchor's 100 feet down, they just dropped 100 feet of rope in the water. And what happens is it whips around as the current moves, and it will ball up and it just starts destroying the reef. So we go remove the anchors and the rope and everything. So we do a lot of stuff like that. Again, understanding the cause and what our ultimate goal is, which is protecting the reefs, protecting our ecosystem. If you were to come take my class, I actually get very in depth about not even lionfish. I start getting into the population, how much building we're doing on the coastlines, talk about the commercial fishing, the bycatch and things like that, the amount of fish and species that are not being what they're fishing for, and so they just get destroyed and get caught up in that process. So again, we just wanted to come here and be able to show what Zookeeper is doing and trying to promote within the communities to understand how important it is to protect our reefs. So to me, this slide shows you a lot of the people that we're involved with. So of course, FWC, but you'll see a lot of different Rock the Ocean, a lot of nonprofits in here that we support, and we support their events. And then you'll see some fishing charters, some marinas. We have a display at the South Carolina Aquarium, down in Utility, of course, Destin, Fort Walton Beach. But some of these are just Stingmaster. Stingmaster is a cream that if you were to get stung by a lionfish, you put this cream on, and that also helps to protect you, or not to protect you, but to help alleviate the pain from a lionfish sting. And if you guys, just to give you an example, a lionfish sting is the equivalent of about a bee sting times 20. So if you've ever been stung by a bee, I'm telling you, grown men cry. And it is the most painful thing that you can imagine. Of course, it also depends on the amount of venom that you actually get into your system, but it is extremely, extremely painful. But 1% for the planet, and again, just, showing our commitment to this cause. I tell people all the time, Zookeeper is a for-profit business, but we're as close to a nonprofit as you can be. We give away a lot of product every year. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, TikTok, and we would love to get your guys' support and just be part of this. I know that you're here because you are part of it, but just support some of these events and what they do and what they accomplish, and hopefully we're never going to eradicate the lionfish. That's not going to happen. As much as we'd all like to see that happen, the way they reproduce is crazy. I'll just leave you with a single female lionfish lays about 30,000 eggs every 4 days, year round. Okay? Yeah, about 2 million eggs per year per female lionfish. That's what we're up against. So there's not, divers spearing them is the main way to do it right now. There's a lot of people working with submarines and things like that, but it's a big challenge. So we're not going to remove them. Our goal is to just try to kind of keep everything in check and limit the amount of damage that they do. So with that, I will open it up to any questions.
Questions?
In your first slide, you showed something called a debris funnel.
Yes. So when we bought the company, our funnels looks just like a regular funnel, except has a bunch of slits in it, right? So you push the lionfish through this funnel and then strip your spear back out. The debris funnel, this is a hard plastic. Our debris funnel is a rubber funnel, which you would put in the Zookeeper and allows you to push your hand back in. So one of the big problems we have with these is if you're pushing fishing line, monofilament fishing line, it's a bunch, right? Same scenario as the anchors. It's not 10 feet of fishing line down there. It could be, that fish could have run for however, right? And then it breaks off. So fishing line is everywhere, to be honest with you. It allows you to push it in. We have a hard time, it wants to come back out, right? So with the rubber debris funnel, it allows you to put your hand in there and get the whole glob of it in there. And then bring your hand back out and it stays in the... It's just harder. It's much harder, especially because you're wearing gloves and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. In the back.
Yeah, I didn't have a question, but for anybody who lives around here, I mean, I totally encourage asking everywhere, you know, they have lionfish. Chef Michael's generally has lionfish, or a reliable place to get a great lionfish. Generally, they have it.
Are there enough restaurants along the Gulf Coast that serve lionfish that it would be worth having some type of way to look them up by?
So the problem is, so just before I answer your question, Castaways in Marathon. Castaways has lionfish on their menu 365 days a year, primarily because they send a buyer to the Emerald Coast Open and he buys 3/4 of the fish that are caught. And then they send them to the processor, have them filleted, packaged, and then they have them in their freezer so that they have fish available. The problem with lionfish is the supply and demand. Okay, so I was telling somebody a little earlier, if you're a fishing boat captain, you have your fishing spots and you can go every day to the same fishing spots and you can get bites and probably catch fish. When we go to a spot where there's lionfish, when we remove them, they're gone. We can't go back there tomorrow. There's not going to be more. They don't just, that's not how they come in. Most lionfish, when they lay their eggs, the egg sacs, they lay their eggs into these 2 egg sacs that float to the surface. And then the egg sacs burst, and then the little fish work their way back down to the reef. Well, the whole time all of that is happening, they're going with the current. And so that's how the lionfish end up where they end up. Primarily they're homebodies. So when they find their place on the reef, they stay there. They don't move around a lot. They're not like other fish and they just swim and wander. Once they find a place where they can get food source, they eat. They're also cannibals. So if there's nothing for them to eat, they'll eat each other. So the big guys will survive and the little guys don't. So that's the problem with the restaurants. But that's what I'm saying. The more we get restaurants that get demands for the fish, the more the demand goes up, the more guys that will get in. There are people that hunt lionfish commercially, go out every day and hunt them. We have a big container. We have a commercial lionfish container, and they use them, and they come back with hundreds of lionfish every day. But they're going to different places, and they're also going to areas where you don't have divers on a regular basis. So they're always seeking out new areas to go.
How long does it take once a reef area has been cleaned out? How long does it take for them to repopulate?
It depends on the currents. So people always say, why is the biggest lionfish in Destin, right? Well, they predominantly have a north current. And so they're pushing all those eggs right into the coast all year long. And again, you start doing the math, and it sounds impressive that we removed 20,000 lionfish in 2 days. But when you hear that a female lays 30,000 eggs at that same time period, one of them, you kind of see what we're up against. Of course, all those eggs don't survive, right? But I always tell people, I don't know the percentage that survive, but what if it's 2%? It's a lot of fish, right? And then you multiply that. They're big eaters, they grow fast, and they reproduce. They eat to eat, they don't eat because they're hungry. You can see them on the, when we're diving and hunting for them, their bellies are just so expanded because they just eat because there's a fish there and they just eat it. And they just suck them in, they just keep eating. Somebody was telling me earlier tonight, I think the record is 68 fish out of one belly of one lionfish. The 68 little reef fish. So they do a lot of damage. So those reefs on that coast, they get hunted pretty regularly. During the winter, they slows down a little bit because the water does get down into the 50s. So not as many people go diving as they do in the summer. But when we go out there in the summer, in April and May, there's plenty of lionfish that have come back in. They get to maturity in about 12 to 14 months. That's all it takes for a fish to go from an egg to an egg-laying fish, 12 to 14 months. So it happens pretty quickly. And the problem's getting worse, being quite honest with you. We've sent zookeepers to Greece, Israel. We send them to California on a regular basis. The problem is getting worse. It's certainly not getting better.
Any other questions?
Well, I think we've been holding it in check, to be quite honest with you. I was hunting lionfish long before I bought Zookeeper, so I'm not new. It's not like a 5-year game for me. But the promising thing that we are seeing is that some of the other species are being, caught, grouper, snapper, big snapper, and they have lionfish in their bellies. So it seems to be a little bit of a trend that they're starting to adapt and start eating them. Right now, they're invasive, so those species don't even know what a lion, like when they see it, they don't see it as food because they don't know what it is. So that's why they're not eating it. And, I've heard people say, well, why don't we, they're from the Pacific, the Indo-Pacific. So like we've been to the Maldives Islands diving a couple of times. Very few lionfish there, very few, because they have predators. The sharks, the big fish eat them. And people are like, well, why don't we bring those sharks over here? I was like, well, that's easier said than done, right? I mean, over time, though, they will become hunted. It's not going to happen in my lifetime. But I'm sorry?
The predators have to adapt to the venom.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's sharks. So down here in the Keys, very specifically, a few years ago, had a tremendous problem with people were feeding the lionfish to the nurse sharks. And the nurse sharks were hounding the recreational divers. Divers that didn't even have any hunting gear were being hounded by the nurse sharks because so many people were feeding them. So we don't encourage that. People are like, we're teaching them how to eat. I'm like, no, you're really teaching them to look at a diver as a food source. And that's why they're hounding all these other people. So It'll happen naturally, but it's gonna take time. So like I said, the best option is for us to have people down there hunting them that just try to keep it in check for now. Sure.
You talked about the 2 egg sacs that the female releases every 4 days.
Yep.
Every 4 days, these 2 sacs rise.
Yeah, they get into the water column, yep. So, yeah, so the other species of fish, there's so many theories on that. Like they think that, and the people here at Reef probably would be able to answer that better than me, but they think maybe that some of the species of fish are picking at the egg sacs, but you're talking about, I could show you a video. I showed someone a little earlier, just one spot where I shot 160 lionfish off of an area like these 6 chairs right here. And so if half of those are female lionfish, those eggs are going to get up into the water column, and the current's going to take them different speeds, different directions, primarily the same direction, but not, they're not going to stay right together, right? So it's just very challenging. There's been a lot of, I know that Reef worked on traps. They had traps for a long time and things like that. Those things don't really work very well. You got to get the fish around it, right, first. And that's hard to do because you got to get the bait fish there. That's why the lionfish are there. There's something for them to eat. So, yeah, it's just a challenge.